Hey, I'm Jody Chafee. I'm the host of the Family Culture Movement, and I'm a homeschool mom and mentor. I've been educating my kids since they were born, and so have you, since the time they were learning to talk or walk or ride a bike. Even when they started going to school, you remain their first and primary educator. But if you're like a lot of parents right now, you find yourself faced with a difficult choice of what to do about your child's education this fall with all the COVID regulations. Should you send them to school, or should you do remote learning, pod schooling, hire a teacher, do boarding school, or should you homeschool? It's a really tough decision and one riddled with a lot of fear and anxiety. If you're thinking about homeschool, you're worried about what curriculum to choose, how to balance being a teacher and a parent, how to balance work and home management. Maybe you have kids spanning a range of ages. Maybe you're worried they're going to have gaps in their education. Perhaps you're worried you won't be able to motivate your kids. I'll cover that in a later video, so make sure you come back. Your worries are valid and deserve to be acknowledged. Are you ready for a solution? You can educate your kids from home without a daily plan or curriculum, even while working from home. Step 1. Fill their space with learning tools and resources. Get lots and lots and lots of books. Go to the library often if you have to. Collect games, puzzles, toys, art supplies, cooking utensils, building and construction tools, sports equipment, math manipulatives, card games, worksheets, workbooks, posters with facts on them, writing prompts plastered everywhere, learning apps for your devices, streaming educational programs, and e-learning programs at their fingertips. Cultivating a space that encourages learning will spark your child's interest and excitement to learn, and it will give them a sense of autonomy that they can learn anything they want. Step 2, review your scope and sequence for your child for whatever grade they're in. You can do this by going to the World Book website and looking up the typical course of study. This will outline programs or courses or subjects or topics or things that your child should learn by grade level. You can also go to HSLDA and they will have testing for placement testing for your child at whatever grade level they may be in. Just remember that these are guidelines and to be flexible and be compassionate and give yourself grace so that you know your child can develop where they need to. Another way that you can figure out their scope and sequence is simply to go to a favorite university website and look up their courses of study and their majors and minors and things like that, and figure out which one your child is interested in. Look over the prerequisites and requirements for that program, and that will give you an outline of study for your child. This is something you can start when they're like in middle school, high school, whenever that they start to be interested in their higher education. And that will help them to prepare if they decide to pursue that degree or that major in any university. Write down together with your child the goals and objectives for their scope and sequence and get an idea of what they want to learn for that school year. Step 3 is to map out a general plan for the year. Some homeschoolers switch things up every month. Some do it every term. Some do it every 6 weeks. Some do it where they follow the semester of the school year. Get a general idea, map these out, write down the subjects for whatever time frame you plan on switching things up, and that will be a guideline or a general idea of the things you want to study throughout the year. Make sure you schedule in the field trips, the play dates, the co-ops, the service opportunities, and downtime and errands that you're going to include in your school year. Step 4. This is where the rubber meets the road, right? This is your daily routine, the daily habits, the schedule, where you're going to fit in certain aspects of your home education and your own personal time. So there are 3 elements that you can include in your schedule in the day that are scheduling in the time, but not necessarily every little nitpicky detail of the time. The first one is your family learning time. So this is 2 to 3 hours of covering subjects you can do as a family. So like science or history. Then you include in that one-on-one time with your child, doing about 15 to 30 minutes, starting with your youngest, to cover math and language arts. This is, again, very flexible. You can use books, you can use worksheets. You don't necessarily need curriculum, but if you are looking to pick a curriculum, make sure that your criteria is that it's a good fit for your family and for your child not that you have to complete a particular curriculum, okay? That's the only criteria, is whether it's a good fit for your child. The second element is strategic playtime, okay? So this is going to include practice time for language or music and things like that. Project time so that they can complete building puzzles, or they can build something like a dollhouse or a birdhouse, things like that. Project time. Then there's personal study time, where they can do their own personal reading and writing and practice of whatever they want to do. Then playtime. Okay, so like my family calls them the 4 P's: personal study, project, practice, and play. The third element of your educational day is going to be strategic downtime. Okay, so this is where your child is going to engage in that environment that you've cultivated for them, and this gives them the autonomy and the freedom to enjoy learning. So maybe you work full-time all day, right? Allow your child to have strategic downtime and strategic playtime during the day, and then in the evening you can do family learning time. Whatever is going to fit in your schedule, that's how you can plan out your routines. And then we also include in there some time to do family work time, where we keep at home clean and managed, and meal time. So those are the elements of your day, and you can place them however they work for your family. I hope that this was helpful. Remember these 4 steps to fill your environment with learning tools and resources. Define your scope and sequence for your child. Either go to World Book or go look at your university requirements. Step 3 is to map out a general idea for your year. And step 4 is to figure out and map out your daily routine and schedule. Thank you so much for being here. You can find more resources where my website is homeandfamilyculture.com. That's where you can find more about my podcast, and also you can download the Homeschool Beginner Kit that I have put together for you. Make sure you come back for the next video, which will be about 3 mindset shifts you need to make in order to be successful with homeschooling. I'll see you then.